Okay, hello. Today we're going to look at the speaking part, and it's going to be describing people. So what we want to do is to find some good descriptions of people online. So I'm going to go to a site called SparkNotes, and SparkNotes is a study guide for English literature, and they have lots of different novels, and then they analyze these novels. So what we want to do is choose a novel. Here I've chosen the famous To Kill a Mockingbird, and what you get is an analysis of the whole book. What we want to be looking at is analysis of characters. Okay, so this is one character. Her name is Scout. Let's see if we can get Notepad up. She's very unusual, both in her own qualities and in her social position. Okay, she's unusually intelligent. She learns to read before beginning school. Okay, so this is a good example. First of all, they make a description, and then they tell you more information about that. So consider this to be one main idea, and this is your supporting idea. She's unusually intelligent. She learns to read before beginning school. She's unusually confident. She fights boys without fear. And again, thoughtful. She worries about the essential goodness and evil of mankind. Good. Acts with the best of intentions. In terms of her social identity, she's unusual for being a tomboy in the prim and proper. Okay, there's some interesting language here. So here we've got she is intelligent, she is confident, she is thoughtful, she is good, and then we get this introduction. Now, the problem is here, unusual. If you say someone is strange, there are many ways in which they can be strange. They could look strange, they could act strange, they could talk strangely. So here they tell you in what regard, in what aspect, which is social identity, is she unusual. And why is she unusual? Because she's a tomboy. And why is that unusual? Because in this town most little girls are prim and proper. So most of this language is not very useful to us. I mean, we should already know intelligent, confident, thoughtful, good, and unusual, but the layout, the having one aspect of their character and then developing that idea, another aspect, and then developing and supporting that, this is really useful to us. So if we're going to choose a generic description, of a person we like, a person we admire, or just some person, and it has to be a positive description, you won't be asked for a negative description. So if this is what we're going to look for, what is something we could use for everybody? So I like this person. She's very good. Now, good is not a good word to choose because it's such a low-level word and it's such a general word. And remember that general words like delicious, beautiful, good, nice, they have no real meaning without being more specific. So here the reason that this is a good description is not because of this adjective, she is good, it's because you have qualified this adjective. You've told us more about in what way is she good. And I think if you were talking about your friend or your parent or your brother or sister in a positive way, you could say good as long as you continue to say what you mean. An example here would be perfect. For example, whenever she sees someone in need, she always wants to help. This is not a great example. This is not a specific time, this is not a specific person, and this is not a specific situation. So a better example would be something like my sister once saw a beggar and gave him her candy because she felt sorry for him. Now we have a specific person and then a specific action. What else would be useful? This in terms of, so we could certainly use that again in terms of blah blah blah. Let's see if there's anything else we can steal from this before we finish. Oh, she is who she is because of the way her father raised her. Nice. Anything else we can steal? Oh, that's quite nice. Let's see if there's anything else we can steal. I kind of like that. Well off means wealthy, financially comfortable. I like that. And that could be useful. Alright, we'll finish there. So as you can see, in just a couple of paragraphs from a random book, To Kill a Mockingbird, we have generated some pretty good descriptions, positive descriptions of people. Alright. Okay, I quite like that one. But not that. Okay, let's get rid of that. And in terms of... okay, so we'll get rid of that. Let's see if we can just make this more useful. Okay, so here, rather than she is who she is because of the way someone has raised her, we could say I am who I am because... and then we could say of the way... now, someone taught me, or someone raised me, or because of the way... no, I'll leave it there. Here neither cynical nor jaded, and so we could use this as an example of being conscientious while being neither cynical nor jaded. So someone is relatively well off. Someone, again, is a person to... okay, we'll change that because it's not really spoken English. Who others turn to in times of doubt. Yeah, okay. I quite like doubt more than trouble. Trouble's a little bit low level. Sympathy and understanding that he preaches to Scout, never holds a grudge. Okay. So we can say this person shows sympathy and understanding, never holds a grudge against people who have wronged him. And then that connects quite nicely with this one. He's determined to admire the good while understanding and forgiving the bad. So if we just take these so for example here, in terms of attitude, he is conscientious, we said, didn't we? Conscientious, or not conscientious, while being neither cynical nor jaded. Someone is relatively well off. My grandfather is relatively well off. My father is relatively well off. My friend is relatively well off, which means not very rich, but you know, compared to some people, quite rich. Again, after all of these, you might put a good example. Yeah, an example like this, rather than something like this, which is very simple. So if we were just going to describe a good person, remember question 1 speaking, we've got 45 seconds. If we said the adjective, and we gave some supporting detail, and we gave an example, we would probably only need 2 or 3 of these. and we could describe a parent like this, a grandparent, a teacher, perhaps even somebody famous, a musician maybe, someone whose character you admire. And notice we don't have to describe the way they look. In fact, in all of this, and in a lot of novel writing, you will find we don't describe the way people look. It's just not necessary. 2 or 3 good adjectives, plus supporting information, plus an example, a real example of when something happened, is all you need to get a very good score in 45 seconds on question 1.